past, we have world champions of the present. Marissa Shields in the building.
Jake Paul was attacked on the streets by Andrew Tate, and honestly, many saw it coming. New York was in chaos on December 14th as months of tension between the two finally exploded. Their meeting wasn't planned, they simply crossed paths by chance. However, Jake couldn't resist throwing out some over-the-top insults at Andrew. What followed was absolute mayhem, just as Andrew had hinted it might.
It's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters who would.
When it comes to Jake Paul, we all know he's built his career on stirring the pot, whether it's challenging combat sports legends like Mike Tyson or carefully selecting opponents to maintain his undefeated streak. But what happened on December 14th was far more than just another call-out. This time, it was Andrew Tate, worth $710 million and a four-time kickboxing world champion, confronting Jake in the middle of a bustling street as if he had a point to prove. And he certainly did.
If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a fucking goofy, fucking entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate. Fucking Google it if you want to know more. Any day, anytime.
For those unaware, Andrew Tate is not the type to do anything halfway. This wasn't a casual encounter or some Twitter spat. Tate confronted Jake Paul right in the middle of a busy street, surrounded by fans with smartphones poised to capture every moment. It was nothing short of a public reality check. As for Jake, his signature bravado seemed to vanish. If his confidence were a volume knob, Tate dialed it all the way down.
Come on, work. Go. Work. Come on, Marshall. Keep going. Work! Speed. Come on, fight. Make it. Big seconds. Come on, 20 seconds to walk speed. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, work. 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 Good. Work. 10 seconds. Work.
Jake's body language said it all. Andrew Tate didn't need to shout or throw a punch, his towering presence and unshakable composure did the talking. Jake, who usually thrives in confrontations, looked completely out of his element. You know it's serious when the guy famous for his loud mouth and sharp comebacks is left speechless.
Yeah, he'll never do that though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract. And two,
he's not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better. He might
and it's funny to say, like, yo, Conor McGregor is scared of Jake Paul, will never.
This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment encounter. Andrew Tate's decision to confront Jake Paul had been building for months. Jake has made a name for himself by calling out legends, many well past their prime, while skillfully avoiding true challenges. Tate saw right through the act. For someone who spent his life dedicated to combat sports, watching Jake cherry-pick opponents had to be maddening. And when Jake had the audacity to call Tate a washed-up fighter, that was the final straw.
I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. I'm 5 years out the ring. I'm a kickball.
Tate didn't confront Jake Paul for clout. Let's be real, he doesn't need it. It wasn't about money either. His bank account is already overflowing. This was about making a statement. In combat sports, respect isn't earned through follower counts or trash talk, it's earned by stepping up against real competition, something Jake has consistently dodged. Tate wasn't there to play games. He was there to show Jake what respect truly looks like.
When you see some of these crossover fights, obviously I know that you and Jake Paul have had your disagreements. Do you think that Jake's gotten better as a boxer?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And listen, what Jake Paul has accomplished is he's fighting old guys.
Yes.
He's fighting, all he fights are old guys and whatever. But listen, say what you want, he wins. And he makes money. So he's doing his thing, you know.
December 14th started like any other day until it didn't. On a crowded street, surrounded by fans and onlookers forming a human circle, Andrew Tate made his move. Phones were out, cameras were rolling, and within minutes, the footage was everywhere on social media. Hashtags like hashtag Tate vs Paul, hashtag Jake Paul exposed, and hashtag respect the game were trending in no time.
Present. Marissa Shields in the building.
Jake Paul's entire persona is rooted in the idea of being untouchable, the underdog who always defies the odds, silences his critics, and proves people wrong time and time again. He's built his brand around the narrative of being the outsider who stormed into the world of combat sports, challenging seasoned fighters, thriving under pressure, and turning doubt into motivation. His confidence, often bordering on arrogance, has been his signature trait, fueling his trash talk, bold predictions, and unapologetic self-promotion. It's this larger-than-life bravado that has captivated fans and infuriated critics, making him one of the most polarizing figures in modern boxing. But when Andrew Tate stood face-to-face with him, all that bravado disappeared in an instant. It wasn't just a confrontation, it was a moment that stripped Jake of the invincible persona he'd carefully crafted. The usual smirks, cocky comebacks, and over-the-top confidence seemed to fade, replaced by an unspoken tension that was impossible to ignore. Tate's presence was different from Jake's previous opponents. He wasn't just another fighter looking for clout or a payday. He exuded a raw, unshakable confidence rooted in years of real combat experience, a demeanor that didn't rely on theatrics to be intimidating in that face-off. It became clear that Jake wasn't just dealing with another influencer-turned-fighter or a celebrity opponent, he was facing someone who embodied the very essence of what it means to be a fighter. Tate didn't need to shout or boast, his reputation, experience, and aura did all the talking. For Jake, this encounter may have been the first time he truly felt the weight of what it means to stand across from someone who isn't playing a character, someone who lives and breathes the fight game. It was a reality check, a crack in the armor of invincibility he'd worn for so long, revealing that beneath the showmanship, even Jake Paul isn't immune to being shaken.
Two brothers, one cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
Don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful. But of course, I have absolute faith in myself and my brother, and I know what we've been through, and I know the kind of men we are.
Andrew Tate didn't need to do much, his sheer presence said it all. With his towering physique and years as a kickboxing world champion, there was no need for shouting or posturing. Jake, on the other hand, was visibly rattled. He tried to fire back, as he always does, but this time, his words fell flat. This wasn't a situation he could talk his way out of. As soon as the footage hit the internet, it was game over, at least for Jake's ego. Within hours, memes flooded Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. From comparisons to a kid being scolded by their dad to outright mockery of his bold persona, social media had a field day. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate's fan base skyrocketed. Even those who weren't die-hard fans couldn't help but respect his composure and dominance.
Look, Andrew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. Sorry, Tristan Tate is the weak link.
I say let's
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
A MMA double tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight on your hands.
That would go crazy.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. No, seriously.
I'm
let's
about
do
the
it.
action. Like I'm less talk now. Let's just fucking go.
Yo, but you know for a fact, me and Jake will travel to Romania. We will make this happen. We'll do it wherever you want, whatever condition.
The debate raged on. Was Tate right for calling Jake out so publicly, or was this just another instance of two egos clashing for attention in the ever-evolving spectacle of combat sports? Fans, analysts, and fighters alike were divided. Some argued that Tate's bold move was necessary, a wake-up call to expose the superficiality creeping into the sport. They believed he was standing up for the integrity of combat sports, challenging someone who, in their eyes, had skipped the hard work and earned fame without truly earning respect in the ring. For these supporters, Tate's confrontation wasn't just about personal pride, it was about defending the honor and authenticity of the fighting world. On the other hand, many saw it differently. Critics claimed this was nothing more than another strategic ploy, a calculated move designed to generate headlines, boost social media engagement, and keep both names trending. To them, it wasn't about respect or the spirit of the sport, it was about business, brand building, and capitalizing on the public's obsession with controversy. They argued that both men thrived on attention, and this public feud was just another chapter in their ongoing pursuit of fame and fortune. Regardless of where you stood, one thing was clear: this wasn't something that was going to blow over anytime soon. The confrontation had struck a nerve, igniting passionate discussions not just within the boxing community but across the broader sports world. It became more than just a story about two men, it was a reflection of the current state of combat sports, a battle between tradition and modernity, between legacy and virality. As the buzz continued to grow, it was evident that this rivalry had planted deep roots, promising more drama, more debate, and possibly, an explosive showdown that could define both of their careers.
Why don't you lose to an old man who's retired? I live in the real fucking world, Jake. There's a whole bunch of fighters out here who live in the real fucking world. Men who are dangerous and dedicated their lives to this sport and don't have a fucking fraction of the money you have because you managed to become a fucking clown.
This wasn't just a confrontation between two people, it was a clash of two very different ideologies, each representing opposing forces shaping the future of combat sports. Jake Paul embodies the new era, a world where clout often trumps skill, and the spotlight shines brightest on those who can generate the most buzz, not necessarily those with the most talent. His rise in boxing isn't rooted in years of grinding through the amateur ranks or facing seasoned fighters to earn his stripes. Instead, it's fueled by his massive online following, carefully curated callouts, and headline-grabbing antics. His fights are less about proving himself as a legitimate boxer and more about creating viral moments, maximizing pay-per-view sales, and dominating social media trends. For Jake, boxing is as much a business as it is a sport, a platform to grow his brand and maintain cultural relevance. Andrew Tate, on the other hand, represents the old-school mentality, a fighter molded by traditional values where respect is earned through grit, discipline, and performance inside the ring, not through followers or flashy promotions. Coming from a world of rigorous training, real competition, and facing opponents not for the cameras but for the pure love of the sport, Tate's perspective is deeply rooted in authenticity. He believes that a fighter's legacy should be built on skill, resilience, and the battles fought, not on how well they can market themselves online. For him, combat sports aren't just about entertainment, they're about honor, tradition, and the unspoken code shared among true warriors. Their confrontation wasn't merely a personal feud, it was symbolic of a larger cultural shift within combat sports. It highlighted the growing tension between those who see fighting as an art form, demanding respect and dedication, and those who view it as another avenue for fame and fortune. In many ways, this clash represents the past meeting the present, with the future of the sport hanging somewhere in between.
Come on, fight! Make it! 50 seconds. Come on, 20 seconds to walk. Let's go!
For Tate, this wasn't just about Jake Paul, it was about what Jake represents, a shift in the combat sports world that values spectacle over substance, hype over hard-earned skill, and social media fame over true fighting spirit. In Tate's eyes, Jake symbolizes a new wave of influencers who've managed to bypass the traditional, grueling path of combat sports through online popularity and strategic matchmaking. This trend, while entertaining for many, threatens to overshadow the dedication, discipline, and sacrifice that real fighters endure to reach the top. By confronting Jake, Tate wasn't just defending himself, he was standing up for an entire generation of fighters who have dedicated their lives to the sport, fighters who've spent years in the gym, taking hits, learning the craft, and earning respect the hard way. For Tate, this was a fight against the commercialization of combat sports, where the spotlight often shines on personalities rather than true professionals. It was his way of sending a message to the world, that respect in this game isn't bought with followers or viral moments, but earned through sweat, struggle, and undeniable skill. This confrontation was more than personal, it was symbolic of a larger battle for the soul of combat sports.
You know what, if I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out.
In the days after the confrontation, the internet was buzzing with speculation, with social media platforms flooded by heated debates, memes, and reaction videos. Fans from both sides passionately argued about what would happen next, wondering if Jake would finally step into the ring with Tate or continue avoiding real competition, as his critics claimed. Every post, comment, and tweet seemed to add more fuel to the fire, keeping the rivalry alive and growing. The media only intensified the frenzy, running bold headlines like Andrew Tate humiliates Jake Paul, Jake Paul's legacy on the line, and the showdown that could change combat sports forever. Sports analysts chimed in with their predictions, dissecting every detail of the confrontation, while podcasts and talk shows kept the topic trending. It wasn't just about a potential fight anymore, it had become a cultural phenomenon, capturing the attention of not just fight fans but the world at large. The anticipation was electric, and everyone was waiting to see what Jake's next move would be.
The best boxer on the planet is
Jake Paul.
why?
I mean, who's doing it?
I mean, if Mike Tyson says, let's do this, are you down?
100%.
I'm gonna make Mike my girlfriend.
Would you fight Mike Tyson? Again, no, because he's now old, and I would be an absolutely tragic shame to knock out our old version of his prime self. That doesn't feel fair. Prime Tyson would have ripped me apart in a boxing match, so to beat him when he's past his prime just feels dishonorable, and I'd feel dirty for doing that. So there's no amount of money on the planet that could convince me to fight.
For Jake, the fallout was brutal. His image took a major hit, shaking the confident persona he's carefully built over the years. The backlash was immediate and intense, with critics growing louder than ever, questioning not just his skills but his place in the world of combat sports. His losses became fuel for those who'd long doubted his credibility as a legitimate fighter, casting shadows over his previous victories. For Tate, however, it was a clear victory both in terms of respect and exposure. He didn't just call Jake out, he backed up his words with actions, proving everything he's been saying about respect, authenticity, and what it truly means to be a fighter. Tate's triumph wasn't just about dominating the narrative, it was about reinforcing the values that many believe are missing in today's spectacle-driven fight culture. This moment solidified his stance, leaving a lasting impact on both their careers and the broader combat sports community.
I'm known as a fighter in a way that he never will be. I'm known as a fighter in the way that if you throw me in a cell with a murderer, a rapist, and 2 drug dealers, people look at me and go, okay, respect. He would have left with a higher male body count than his fiance. That's how he...
The big question now is, what's next for Jake Paul and Andrew Tate? Their rivalry has captured global attention, and fans are already demanding a sanctioned fight to settle the score once and for all. The internet is buzzing with heated debates, bold predictions, and endless speculation about how such a showdown would play out. Some believe Jake doesn't stand a chance against Tate's extensive combat experience, sharp technique, and mental toughness, arguing that Tate's background in kickboxing gives him a clear advantage. On the other hand, many argue that Jake's youth, relentless determination, and rapid growth as a boxer could tip the scales in his favor. They point to his discipline, work ethic, and ability to handle high-pressure situations as factors that shouldn't be underestimated. As anticipation builds, one thing is clear, if this fight ever happens, it won't just be about who wins in the ring, it will be a defining moment for both of their legacies, shaping how they're remembered in the world of combat sports.
Jake Paul can fight. It's not like Jake Paul can't fight.
Yeah.
Jake Paul just won't fight it.
One thing is for sure, this rivalry is far from over. It's more than just a clash of personalities, it's a battle fueled by pride, ego, and the desire to prove who truly belongs at the top. Whether it leads to an intense showdown in the ring or unfolds through more drama on social media, the world will be watching closely, eager to see what happens next. Fans, critics, and fighters alike are all waiting to witness the next move in this escalating feud. For now, all we can do is wait and see how Jake responds. Will he rise to the challenge, showing growth, resilience, and a true fighter's spirit? Or will he keep playing it safe, relying on hype and spectacle to maintain his image without taking the risks that could define his legacy? Only time will tell.
Somebody like me, he mentioned me before, and there'll be people out there saying, oh, Carl Froch's talking about himself, he's after a payday. Listen, I'm not after a payday. I'm doing all right. There's no problems with my...
This confrontation wasn't just a one-time event, it was a wake-up call for Jake Paul, a harsh reminder that respect isn't earned through trash talk alone. It served as a pivotal moment, exposing the gap between showmanship and genuine skill, and highlighting the difference between building a brand and building a legacy. Andrew Tate made his point clear, you can have all the clout in the world, but without respect, it means nothing. His message resonated beyond the ring, emphasizing that true recognition comes from hard work, discipline, and proving oneself against real challenges, not just from online popularity or viral moments. For Jake, this encounter could mark the beginning of a deeper realization about what it truly takes to be respected in the world of combat sports. For fans, this was more than just entertainment, it offered a glimpse into the growing tension between traditional combat sports and the new age of internet-driven spectacles. It highlighted how the lines between professional athleticism and social media stardom are becoming increasingly blurred, sparking debates about the authenticity and future of combat sports. While some viewers appreciated the spectacle for its excitement and unpredictability, others felt it undermined the hard-earned respect and discipline that traditional fighters embody. As for Jake, it might just be the reality check he didn't know he needed, a moment that could force him to reassess his approach, refine his skills, and understand that success in the ring requires more than hype and confidence.